it helps me go through those things we talked about. Find my why, find out what it's going to feel like when I'm doing that event, right? How I'm going to look, how that's going to feel to be to reach that, and then what's my emotion going to be if I don't.
That's the way we should visualize goals. And if we aren't taking it to that extent, we are not sharpening the saw well enough in order for us to hit what it is that we're trying to hit.
Yeah, I agree. Once you can find your why that imprints on your heart, then you have a lot better chance of accomplishing that goal of whatever it may be.
This will be our year, took a long time to come.
All right, welcome back. This is the Massive and Passive Income Show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Colter, and we are going to be talking about goals and 2025, and we're going to get specifically down to the emotions behind the goals, because it's easy to write a few things down, or it's easy to think of a few things, but getting it to just land in the heart and like, this is absolutely what I'm going to get accomplished. Let's lay that out.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to emotion. Anything you get emotional about, it becomes a part of you. You're emotional about your parents, emotional about your work, you're emotional. Anytime you bring your emotions into it, it takes another level that becomes a part of you. It's almost like it becomes a part of your heart. And once you can find your why that imprints on your heart, then you have a lot better chance of accomplishing that goal of whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So let's dig into the why. Everybody has a reason why they set a goal, right? Everybody's got a reason.
Yeah.
But the why is what makes the difference. How emotional are you about that why? Well, I want to get fit. Well, I want more money. Well, I want to get educated. Okay, that's great. But why do you want that? What is it about that? And let's move into that emotion. And I think let's see if we can really drive into that so we can help people that have set a goal, because what's right now, the 7th? Most goals are done by the first week, and then the rest are done by the end of the January. It's something like 50, 60% by the first week, and then the other 40, 50% is done by the end of January. So like 90% of all goals started the first of the year are done by the end of January. So let's figure out what that is.
Done as in they're not working.
They're not doing it. Yeah, they haven't accomplished it.
I nailed it for 2025. It only took me 30 days.
Yep, exactly. Meaning they've stepped away from their goal or they've altered their goal.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do is I have to compartmentalize my goals. And I compartmentalize it into 3 basic aspects: health, wealth, and relationships.
Okay.
And if I don't do that, then I'm setting these general goals, or, it's too vague for me to really connect with what it is that I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
How do we eat an elephant?
Yeah. One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
And lots of ketchup.
And with ketchup, right? And so what we have to do is then say, okay, well, if I have 3 different types of goals that I'm setting, okay, now what are the types of goals that I'm going to set? And we could dive into each one of those, but let's just pick one particular thing. Health and fitness is one of the most common set goals that are out there. And I wish I had a statistic on it, because it's significant compared to setting financial goals or setting relationship goals. It is, so let's talk about fitness and let's talk about health.
Yeah.
If I want to lose 20 pounds, okay, well, that's easy for me to write down.
Yeah.
But what is it that connects with you, me, why 20 pounds is the significant number?
Yeah, I think it's got to get into that emotion. So I think you got to take it, like you said, compartmentalize. Why is it that I want 20 pounds? Why is it that I want to get rid of 20 pounds? What will that do for me? What will my life be like once I've lost that 20 pounds? Then you go to, what will my life be like if I don't? Mm-hmm. So you're getting on 3 different emotions: your why, what your life is going to be like if you accomplish it, and what your life's going to be like if you don't. And I think if you can nail that, especially the first one, the why is it you want 20 pounds off? What will that do for you by getting 20 pounds off your waist? And it could be all sorts of things. You could sleep better. You could, fit your clothes better. You could feel better. You could look better. You could, snowboard. You could, maybe a hobby you can't do now because you gained too much weight and you can't do that hobby you like now. And so you could start doing your hobby again, whether that's skiing, snowboarding, whatever it may be. Maybe it's running, maybe it's just, going to the gym, working out. If you're too overweight, even working out's uncomfortable. And so you've got to find out what is in my core that I really want. And if you can't find it, the chances of you accomplishing that it's slim. It really is. So you've really got to dig into the emotion of what it is once you find your why. Then once you find your why, then you got to dig into the emotion of what's my life going to be like when I do, and move into that. Once I've accomplished that in 90 days, 100 days, or 1 year, what's my life going to look like? And if I don't, what is my life going to look like? It's going to be a lot the same. Or if you don't, you could be now, in a year from now, having to lose 40 pounds because it was just 20 pounds before. And I want you to take that emotion that far. If you don't do something now and you keep eating the way you are, you keep not going to the gym the way you are, what are you going to look like a year from now? You're probably going to be 10 or 15 more pounds. Then you're going to have to get that off of you and even get into the psychologically of it. I mean, just really dig into the emotion, because I think once you can find that emotion, then I think it can stick for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a great idea a while back. We did an episode about seven times. Asking that question to find out your why 7 times. Kind of lead us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So identifying one is what is the goal? We gotta identify what is the goal.
20 pounds.
So SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely.
Yeah.
And so if I want to lose 20 pounds,
you can't put tomorrow.
That's great. Do I want to lose 20 pounds by the time I die?
Yeah.
Right. And then I can't drink any water. I can, I'm literally withering away. But if I don't identify a win, like what time frame that's going to be, it doesn't matter. So SMART is specific. So 20 pounds is specific. Measurable. It's a figure. It's a metric that we can hit.
Yep.
Attainable. Well, if I'm already at a 5% body fat, losing 20 pounds is probably going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not 5% body fat, by the way.
Or if you're 50% body fat like I am, then 20 pounds will probably come off pretty easy.
So we got to make sure that it's attainable. And then realistic and timely.
Yeah.
Right? So realistic is, again, can I fit it within this time frame, and then time frame. So 20 pounds, I've got to identify when that's going to happen. If it's going to take me all year, that's fine. It can take us all year, but that means what? 1.3 pounds per month is what I need to lose in order to hit that by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or if I want to lose that by spring and then I want to keep it off, those are kind of the next stretch. But I think coming back to the emotion, right? We can talk about the SMART goals, but the emotion and connecting that with us is, why do I want to lose 20 pounds? Maybe I'm comfortable eating the way that I do, still working out hard like I do, but the pounds don't really matter because I'm comfortable walking in my shoes, my knees don't hurt, my hips don't hurt. Maybe
sleeping
it's
well.
Okay, right? If I want to pull out this arbitrary number and say, 20 pounds, maybe that doesn't matter to me because I'm already living the lifestyle that I like in the shoes that I'm wearing, right?
Yeah.
But then if it's like, I want to lose 20 pounds because I want to be able to put an extra 10 pounds in my backpack when I climb the Grand Teton, and I want to be comfortable doing that, instead of it being on my body, I want it to be in my pack. Now what does that mean to me emotionally?
Yeah.
It has now an internal objective that says it isn't just the fat or it isn't the excess that I'm trying to get rid of. It's now I have an objective that health will help me achieve.
And you just identified an event. I was going to say this right after you were at this, is sometimes people need an event. So 20 pounds so that I can carry 10 pounds more in my pack on a hike that I'm going to do in June. Mm-hmm. So now you got a time frame, you've got a purpose, you've got a reason, you've got your why. And I think a lot of times people need some event, whatever it is, high school class reunion, which I think is stupid. But if that's what gets you motivated to have a date of something to build for, then that's great. Because like you're saying, 20 pounds this next year, I guarantee you somebody said I'm going to lose 20 pounds in this next year, and it's whatever it is,
1.3
3 pounds per month. I don't think they're going to achieve it. It's too small and it's not aggressive enough to get you motivated to stay on task. Because you're like, oh, it's 1.2 pounds. I could eat like I want for the next 5 months and then I'll hit it, right?
Yeah.
Because people that's how we think. That's how we think. That's what people think when they have some kind of a goal. If it's not aggressive enough, then they don't have to start now. They aren't going to start now.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
And and so what is it that gets us to start? It might be that event. I like the idea of an event. My wife and I set goals around a triathlon sometimes, right? And so if I can hit a triathlon and I want to perform at a certain rate, one, I'm going to prepare in doing, swimming and biking and running. But two, I know that I want to be in a certain physique that allows for me to go and do well in the event.
Yeah.
The Grand Teton is one that I've used because I really like hiking, and summiting something like the Grand Teton is a huge accomplishment for me in my mind. And I'm also pretty competitive. So literally the 10 pounds that I'm talking about is I want to be able to throw the rope in my pack and not have to have somebody else put it on theirs.
Love that.
And so it's taking even a level further is that like the competitive thing is not, hey, I can carry the rope and you can't. And that is the last thing that I want to be the conversation on the mountain.
Yeah.
It's, I can carry it because I've prepared for this event. And I want the ability to say that, even though the guys that I'm hiking with could do the exact same thing, it doesn't matter. It means that I can at least offer and feel comfortable going and doing that. And then when we summit, we're all high-fiving on top of the mountain, taking pictures and super excited. I also want to think about those emotions and feeling like, hey, you know what? We accomplished something big. We hit whatever that mountain is, 13,500 feet. And we were all excited because we made it to the peak and we're at the summit and we're able to see out over Jackson Hole and the Teton Range and down into Driggs and Victor and that, whole valley there. Like, that's the way we should visualize goals. And if we aren't taking it to that extent, we are not sharpening the saw well enough in order for us to hit what it is that we're trying to hit.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to lose weight, and I found out that I was turning 50, and there was a Spartan in Hawaii on my birthday when I turned 50. And so I got in and bought my ticket for Spartan, called a couple of my buddies, called my brother and said, hey, I'm going to Hawaii. We're going to go for my 50th birthday, and we're going to run the Spartan. So I dropped the 50 pounds. I was working for it. And then a month before we left, Hawaii catches on fire, and the Spartan was canceled.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so I never got to go do that Spartan. And they said, oh, well, we canceled Spartan. I still have that money sitting there. I can, go for another one. But man, I'll tell you what, talk about lose your steam. Like I dropped the 50 pounds ready to go. And that month before I left, it was like, I think I gained like 10 pounds in that month before we went to Hawaii. Because we still went to Hawaii. They just canceled the Spartan. And it really messed with my head. Because I had this goal, I had this thing I was going to do, I was losing weight, I was working out, I was making it happen, and then that thing gets canceled. And my wife was, worried. She was like, are you still going to, keep going with the fitness? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I did for almost a year. And then some other events happened. And then anyways, I haven't gained it all back, but I'm back on track again. I'm starting to lose weight again but I have another event that I'm building for, which is another Spartan for this next summer.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And for me, an event is huge for my mental clarity and my commitment, because determination is great because you have to have determination, but unless your commitment's there, determination's not going to make it. And so, and having an event that I can build for, it helps me go through those things we talked about. Find my why, find out what it's going to feel like when I'm doing that event, right? How I'm going to look, how that's going to feel to be to reach that, and then what's my emotion going to be if I don't? If I don't, I've spent the money and I can't go run it. So there's that impact of if I don't reach my goal. And then just being upset with yourself. And you got to move into that emotion, because we're our worst critic. We really are. We beat up on ourselves way worse than we ever will beat up on somebody else. And it made my wife one day, she's like, when you go in there and talk to your daughter, remember whatever it is, she's mad about something or she didn't do something she was supposed to do. She goes, remember before you go in there, she has already beat herself to death over whatever it is she's done. The last thing she needs is you to go in there and compound the beating on her emotionally with whatever you're going to say. And it really changed perspective for me, because I always felt like I needed to walk in and say all the things. But once I realized she's already said all the things, she already knows she screwed up. She already knows whatever it was horrible and bad, and that she already knows she's upset me. So me going in there and making it all again isn't going to help her out anymore. It's just going to tear her down even more. Yeah. So I went in there with more compassion, went in there and talked with her about it instead of, see, I told you so, or why did you do this, why did you do that? She's already done all that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that emotional part is so key for accomplishing goals that I think if you skip it, you miss out on an opportunity to solidify a better chance of accomplishing your goal.
Yeah. Well, and I think we need to identify, so creating this emotion around our goals is not an easy exercise.
No.
It takes a legitimate amount of focus to make sure that we hit the pain points as well as the positive points that can come from us either reaching our goals or not reaching our goals. And identifying those, it starts with the logical aspect is just identified through the SMART, aspects of goal creating.
Yeah.
The emotional part, it now takes the questions of why and why and why, and then it's saying, who am I going to become because I reach that, or how am I going to feel if I don't reach that?
Yeah, which is a tough one.
It is,
because we're going to beat ourselves up,
But I think identifying that too is remembering that I want to feel something, and I want it to be really positive, but also identifying and saying, hey, you know what? A year from now, I'm going to be 1 year older. It doesn't matter what I do or don't do. I'm going to be 1 year older. And if I want to be this new person, then what is it going to feel like? But if we also identify the pain of becoming that older, 1 year older, but feeling like, oh man, I didn't accomplish it, or I didn't hit, the 20-pound goal, or I didn't hit, the financial goal. Those are the things that we have to identify in order to feel like, hey, I can get past January and I can get past February and March and April and, get all the way to the end of the year and say, I nailed it.
Yeah.
And I am the person that I want to be.
All right, so let's do a recap. So number one, your why. Find your why. And Colter had a great way to find your why is ask that question 7 times. Why do you want to lose weight? I want to lose weight because I want to do this. Why do you want to do this? Ask it 7 times. Why do you want to do that? Whatever your answer is, ask why again. And that'll usually get you to a point after 7 times of, okay, I found my why. Then the emotion part. Move in emotionally on what this is going to do, how I'm going to feel once I accomplish it, how it's going to change my life, and then what am I going to feel like, and what is going to change, what part of my life is not going to change if I don't do it. And I think if you can find that why, ask that question 7 times, get emotional about both deals, about the positive and the negative, and then have an event to build for, man. And if you don't accomplish it then do it again.
Yeah.
Because they're still going to happen. It's still going to happen. But this is going to give you the best chance of results is by doing it this way. It's what I've done my whole life. I know what Colter's done, a variation of that his whole life, and successful people all over the globe. I've been a student of them for years, and it seems like this is where it comes down to help accomplish goals. In our next episode, we're going to go through habits and how to dig through those habits to accomplish goals.
Sounds
Thanks
good.
for tuning in.
Yep, look forward to it.